So the government went looking for the names, addresses, and IP addresses of people that are subscribed to certain YouTube channels. No, this is not a joke. This actually happened. The DOJ wanted your information if you were subscribed to 3 YouTube channels that they apparently found suspicious. And those 3 YouTube channels were owned by Don Lemon, Georgia Fort, and a guy named William Kelly. So these are like political activists of some type, political commentators. Don Lemon specifically used to work for CNN, and he has a really big platform. And the DOJ, the US government, wanted the personal information of people just because they were subscribed to these channels. Think about that for a second. Don Lemon has 1.31 million subscribers on YouTube. If the judge had said yes to this, the DOJ would have gotten the information of so many people. And what was the crime committed? What? Because you went ahead and subscribed to a certain YouTube channel they didn't like? Think about how insane that is. This other person, Georgia Fort, has almost 10,000 subscribers. Their information would apparently have been given away as well. And this last person over here, William Kelly, or the woke farmer over here, has about 8,000 subscribers. Apparently that information would have been given away as well. This is some scary stuff and a very scary time to be on the internet right now, because it just seems like online privacy is eroding before our very eyes. Newly unsealed court documents from the Justice Department's prosecution of people who disrupted a church service in St. Paul, Minnesota, show the government reaching for subscriber data that had little to do with the conduct it was investigating. Journalists and commentators Don Lemon and Georgia Fort were charged as part of the disruption, though both alleged they were there as reporters rather than participants. On February 24th, prosecutors filed 5 search warrants. 3 of them asked YouTube to turn over the names, mailing addresses, residential addresses, business addresses, email addresses, telephone numbers, and IP addresses for every subscriber to channels run by Lemon, Fort, and activist William Kelly, whose channel goes by The Woke Farmer. The application, sworn out by Homeland Security Investigations agent Timothy Gerber, went beyond the journalists and activists running the channels. They swept toward the audience, the ordinary people whose only link to the case was having clicked the channel subscribe button. I mean, if this story doesn't go viral, then I don't know what will. I mean, this is absolutely insane. I have heard of the government asking YouTube for the information of certain YouTube channels. Let's say if the YouTube channel was like them plotting some sort of crime, like, hey, I will go and commit this crime at this time. Obviously, the government will want to investigate that person and make sure they don't actually do that whole thing that they're claiming to be doing. But I've never heard about anything like this before. So basically, let's just say for argument's sake, right? I don't even know what they're talking about, this whole disruption in Minnesota or whatever. I have no idea about the details about it, but just, for argument's sake, let's say Don, Georgia, and William were all guilty, right? What the hell does that have to do with the people who subscribe to them? People who just like their videos, people who support them? What the hell do they have to do with it? Why would you have to dox them and take away all their information? It really makes no sense. It just goes to show that the governments around the world right now are just so corrupt. And I say right now, but they pretty much always have been. Magistrate Judge John Doherty rejected all 5, several of them for lack of probable cause. Of course, yeah, I mean, this judge actually has a brain. On the warrant aimed at Kelly's channel, Doherty pointed to a video that appears to be paradigmatic political speech protected by the First Amendment. A demand that treats a list of viewers as evidence turns watching journalism or activism into a reason to be identified by the state, which is a steep price for pressing play on a live stream. One other thing I want to point out here, right? Let's say they were going ahead and asking for this information 10 years ago, right? For some people on YouTube, their channels, they have like their channel name, profile picture. Sometimes they make their channel name their real name, right? Sometimes they make their channel profile a real picture of them. Let's just use someone random for an example, right? Like iJustine, right? YouTube legend, been on YouTube forever. Obviously, her whole brand is her own face, right? And obviously people know her full name. So if a channel like this, like the information was given away with the name, address, and stuff like that, that could do a lot of damage because this person is an actual public figure. This person is someone who has a lot of information out about them. What about myself, right? So if, for example, if the government asked for this type of information about me, I wouldn't have any of that information on my channel, right? Let's say I'm not even a YouTuber. Let's say I'm just some normal guy watching YouTube videos. I don't have my real name or a profile picture of me there. So even if the government did ask for that type of stuff, it wouldn't have been that big of a deal because I don't even have any of that type of stuff listed on my YouTube account. However, there was an event that happened on YouTube last August that you guys might be aware of that I've made quite a lot of videos talking about, YouTube's ID age verification. Do you guys see the connection I'm making here? A lot of people, to get access to every feature on YouTube, has actually given YouTube an AI facial scan or an ID, right? And in that ID that YouTube is holding on to, it actually does have all their information out there. First and last name, date of birth, address, all that type of information will be listed on those types of things. So now imagine in today's era of ID age verification, mass mass surveillance, AI facial scans, any type of biometric data checks, if the government asked for a lot of people's YouTube account information, they would actually be screwed because that information is actually in control of YouTube. YouTube actually does have that type of information. And now, in fairness to YouTube in this specific case, right, if the government asks for that type of information from YouTube, I believe YouTube has to give it to them if it's being done under the guise of an investigation. I'm not some sort of legal expert or anything like that. I can barely know how to tie my own shoes, but for those of you guys who are legal experts in the comments, be sure to let me know if I'm right or wrong about that. But point is that YouTube can do little to nothing to stop the government if they decide to ask for information like this. This is more so talking about the corruption of the government itself. I mean, this is just absolutely insane. Yes, I know this is starting to lean a political route, but honestly, I don't care which way you lean politically. The idea that the government can look at the subscribers of a YouTube channel and say, hey, snap their fingers, hey, we want their info. Yeah, where do they live? What's the color of their house? I don't give a crap. If they're subscribed to Don Lemon, we got to take them down. That is absolutely insane. I mean, I don't understand how, like I said, if this doesn't become some sort of gigantic news story, and it seems like it is falling under the radar right now because this article was posted on June 1st, it is absolutely insane that people aren't talking about this more. Shout out to Reclaim the Net for doing great research here. But anyways, yeah, the judge was like, no, you can't have the address of 1 million plus people just because they subscribe and hit the notification bell for Don Lemon. That doesn't make any sense. But apparently, the prosecutors tried again on March 6th, refilling 4 warrants, including the 3 tied to Lemon, Fort, and Kelly. The government is unhinged. They want that information no matter what. This time, they cut the request down to the channel owners themselves, dropping the demand for subscriber rosters and asking only for the same categories of identifying data on the 3 named people. I mean, I still think that is absolutely insane, but at least they aren't asking for the subscriber rosters anymore, but they wanted it, right? The only reason that they dropped that request is so the judge is more likely to say yes. What's interesting here is the government already treats the list of people who subscribe to a YouTube channel as something it can ask a court to hand over. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. I mean, this is like a whole slippery slope thing, right? I mean, obviously, we always talk about ID age verification on this channel. Think about how much of a slippery slope that became, right? The UK said, hey, in 2023, we should stop kids from watching adult videos. Now it has turned into, hey, you want to use a phone? You want to go in the App Store? You want to play a video game? You want to have voice chat? You want to have text chat? Hand over that ID, please. AI facial scan, grandma's middle name. Give me your dog's collar as well. I mean, it's just absolutely insane, right? The whole slippery slope aspect of mass surveillance throughout the world right now is absolutely insane. And the fact that you can go ahead and subscribe to somebody on YouTube and now you're going to have to bite your nails and worry, wait, is the government going to ask me to hand over my information? Luckily, in this situation, the judge actually has a brain and he said, no, I'm not going to hand over that information, right? However, what if the judge was like a supporter of the DOJ? What if the judge was like a supporter of the current administration? They're like, actually, yeah, we need to take down these, heathens or whatever, and to get them out of here, right? We need to make sure even the people supporting them, we got to find out all their information. Again, I don't care which way you lean, but this is just absolutely insane, man. So people who are subscribed to certain YouTube channels now have to be worried about the government potentially asking for their information. Picture that same demand landing in a world where every account is welded to a verified government identity. The world is being built right now, and that is the point that we were making earlier. I'm glad they brought this up. Nowadays, all these social media accounts are way more likely to have verified government identity documents, such as an ID, such as a driver's license, such as hell, even a birth certificate. So now imagine if the government asked for your YouTube channel. You would be giving over quite a lot of sensitive information. By late 2025, half the US states required people to prove their age before viewing some content, with 9 states enacting such laws in 2025 alone. The movement started in Louisiana in 2022 as a single state experiment and turned into a coordinated national push. The whole ID age verification plan that the government had is now finally coming together. So now when people go ahead and commit crimes, right? And again, I don't even know if these people committed crimes. I didn't actually look into this whole thing that happened in Minnesota. Before they were saying, oh, we're just trying to protect the kids. We want to make sure the kids are okay. This is all for the kids, right? Now it's, hey, we think that this person is a criminal and you watching them right now, you're in trouble too now. Strip away an identity system and a YouTube subscriber list is a loose pile of usernames, email addresses, and IP addresses, the kind of data the government still has to fight a judge for, and here, lost. But if you add a mandatory identity system and that same list becomes a register of verified legal identities, pre-collected, standardized, and sitting on a server waiting for a subpoena, the work the DOJ failed to do by a warrant gets done in advance by compliance. Now, when it comes to the e-files, those files are sitting on a government desk right now and they still haven't been fully released. But when it comes to our information, oh, you can bet those files will get released. The systems being built to answer, are you old enough, are the same systems that can answer, who are you and what did you look at? A verifier that confirms your age can log the request. What made the warrants alarming was not that they zeroed in on hardened criminals. The judge could not even connect the DeWoke Farmer channel to the defendant the government named, and he still saw prosecutors trying to swoop up the channel's entire audience. They're not even sure if the connection is there between this guy's channel and the defendant, but yet they still demanded all of his subscribers' information. What if they were wrong? Now all those people's information is just floating around in the ethos? Age verification hands that capability to any government that adopts it, wrapped in the language of child safety. They always love using this excuse. Oh, it's for the kids. The infrastructure does not know the difference between confirming a teenager's age and identifying an adult who reads something the state would prefer they didn't. We are in the era of mass surveillance. Again, I don't know how I'm going to have to title this video, but I need to title this video in a way where it's going to get a lot of views. This should be an international news story. I'm sorry, but if somebody goes ahead and commits any type of crime, I don't know what it is, that does not justify the government trying to find out everybody who subscribes to them. That is absolutely insane. So what the hell, or what kind of freedom do we have left on the internet now? You can't even subscribe to certain people without fearing that your information is going to be handed over to the government? I don't know, man. I mean, this is just insane to me. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are on the situation in the comments. The government wants your YouTube data, information, your address, your real name, everything about you. Please leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it and subscribe for more. See ya.